Hey, come on in. Sorry about the mess. There we go. Okay then, good morning. What do you need? No, I'm just a little stressed, trying to figure some things out. Don't worry about it. I promise I'm okay. Just sometimes being the Guildmaster is less than fun. You get stuck doing the politics, the clerical stuff, the decisions no one else wants to make. Trying to manage everyone and please everyone and keep this place running, it can be a lot. Not that I'm complaining, I love my job, but it takes a special sort of patience. I've had to refine my patience over the years, and sometimes it still gets to me. It's fine, I'll get it done. It can be a headache, but believe it or not, I do enjoy it. I know it doesn't make much sense, does it? But it's true. I genuinely enjoy being in charge. I mean, very few adventurers get into the business so they can do management. Almost none of them want to sit behind a desk all day. That's the spiritual opposite of adventuring. Most people who get into this guild want to, go on adventures. Go into the dungeons, explore things, kill monsters. Much the same way you did when you first joined up. But someone has to keep this place running along smoothly, and it helps when it's someone who's good at it. Bonus points if they like it. For now, that's me. Of course I do. How could I not miss it? Adventuring is in the blood of everyone here, including myself, including you. You'd have to be crazy to join this guild if you didn't like taking chances, going into risky situations. It's who we are. So, sure, I do miss going into the depths and fighting the unknown. But there are different challenges to this work, different risks. You sure you want to hear about this? Most people find it pretty boring. Okay then. So, the town is run by the town council and all the guilds report to the council. You understand the basic politics, right? Good, that's a start. The guilds, they aren't hostile to each other, but they do butt heads sometimes. I mean, it's not like they're really competing in that way. Most people who come to town wanting to become adventurers aren't going to be swayed by the Baker's Guild. They won't suddenly hang up their swords and take up kneading dough. In fact, lately, we've had to do more turning people away than I'd like. We have to manage the resources we have, and that's where the guilds can jostle each other a bit. The town council allocates certain resources, and we make a case for what we should have and why it's so important. And then once we have the resources, we have to make them work within our guilds. Not entirely. We also collect dues from members, of course. Some of those dues go to paying our fees to the town council, but our coffers hold a good chunk. And we can also raise funds by holding training sessions, selling the things we find while adventuring. The guild gets a little cut of everything, which you already know. That's how we keep this place running. Those funds all get combined, and then we can pay for food, staff, candles and torches, maintenance, training equipment, anything we need. I'll put it this way. I'd rather represent the Adventurers Guild than, say, the Weavers Guild. It's easier to make a case for resources when you're actively defending the town from things that go bump in the night. Or out seeking new materials, new weapons, all of that. We are a flashier guild than most. We bring in things other guilds can't. That makes us stand out. But that can also make us less than popular with some of the other guilds. We can't burn any bridges, sweetness, and we don't want to step on any toes. If the Bakers Guild suddenly decided to stop selling us bread, that would be a problem. We all have to coexist in harmony for this whole system to work. So it's functional, but tense. That's pretty much the feeling all the time. There you go, you got it. That's how we operate within the greater governance of the town. It's probably the best system we could come up with. I don't hate it. I rarely enjoy going to the council meetings, though. I feel most of them are meetings that could have been missives. Just write stuff down and send a runner to deliver it. Don't waste my time, you know? Honestly, that's not what's frustrating me today. Things with the town are fairly relaxed right now, all things considered. Everyone's getting along. Today's headache is more about internal affairs, the things happening within the guild itself, because that is also part of the job. A guildmaster's duty is never done. But yeah, it can be quite a tangle. Keeps me very busy. Well, think about it. Think about how many people are members of this guild. There are many, many faces coming and going through these halls. Some have been here a long time. Some are relatively new. All have different skills, different temperaments. Some want the spotlight, others want to stay in the shadows. Some are constantly spoiling for a fight, and others just want to drink quietly and keep the peace. So right there, the personality differences can cause friction. Making sure that there isn't a massive fight every day can be a delicate thing. Ensuring that everyone has what they need, that everyone feels seen and heard. That's an adventure in itself. It can be a real balancing act to handle all these people in ways that are effective. Exactly. Now, knowing what we know about the variety of people who are part of our adventuring family, add in the fact that when it comes to the actual adventuring, we don't always have enough quests to go around, let alone the right sort of quests. Oh, we have a lot. I fill up the quest board anytime I can. You can see it for yourself. At any given time, there are quite a few on there. But again, everyone's different, and everyone has different wants and needs. Some people think the easier tasks are beneath them. They won't sign up for anything with less than a certain payout. Some other ones, they try to bite off more than they can chew. They think they can take on something massive, and then they end up being the ones chewed up. Some want to work alone, and they get very frustrated when asked to join a group. Some get into fights about how to divvy up the loot. Some don't want to go to the swamp, or to the desert, or to the mountains. It's too wet, it's too dry, it's too cold. But most often, there just aren't enough quests. I scare up as many as I can, and I post the ones that I think are decent. But when people are particular, or there aren't enough choices, people get bored. And bored people who sit in the hall and drink ale can get up to no good. Which is why I try to provide a lot of alternative outlets. Trainings, projects, even maintenance and repairs. Anything to keep those hands busy. But still, you can't please everyone, not even close. Seriously, you would not believe the complaints I get. It's pretty exhausting if I let it get to me. So I just don't let it get to me. Oh, you have no idea just how whiny some of these big, strong adventurers actually are. Not all of them, but some of them. Honestly, no, you've been a breath of fresh air. You don't complain, you're eager to learn, and you work hard. There's not a lot bad to say about that. You've been a net positive, don't worry. Well, yeah, but that was a learning experience. I set it up that way on purpose. You weren't ready to lead a party, but some things can only be taught by doing it. You learned a lot that day, didn't you? Exactly. And really, you got everyone out alive, so it wasn't a failure. You did a lot better than I expected. You did. But that's how I manage things, getting back to that whole leadership topic we were on. I try to handle people as they need to be handled, and manage the issues that come up with as much diplomacy as possible. Oh no, if someone gets obnoxious or won't listen, I'm not above violence. This is the Adventurers Guild. We are always open to corporal punishment for the deserving. Oh, of course, we've definitely had to kick people out before. It's the ultimate form of discipline, short of outright arresting or exiling the offenders. Most of these adventurers would rather get lashed than be kicked from the guild. Not very often, thankfully. You have to really break some rules to get kicked out. And be resistant to improving or fixing things. The truly unrepentant, really. But I can count on one hand the number I've had to boot. Most of the time, problems can be solved in other ways. Some of them, it just takes a good talking to remind them what the values are and how to stick to them. Yeah, that helps. Despite how whiny and petty some of these people are, they are all generally decent people. They work hard and they want to be part of the guild. They want to go on adventures and have the backing and guidance of the group, which I am happy to help provide. When I can anyway, current issues aside. Are you really interested in this stuff, or are you just stalling so you don't have to work? I'm teasing. I know you're not the type to do that. It just surprises me. I know you like to learn, but like I said, this isn't all that interesting to most adventurers. You do keep me guessing, my friend. Okay, well, before I share, anything I tell you in this office stays in this office. Do you understand? This is a confidential space. If I find out you take what you learn in here and tell anyone else out there, You'll be the next person drummed out of the guild, with no second chances. Am I clear? Good. So this is the issue. I have a mission that I need adventurers for. A village in the valley on the other side of the high ridge is dealing with a bit of an infestation. Think very large bugs. Very large, like horse-sized. Yeah, it's not great. But these particular bugs are actually fairly rare. They usually live in very deep caves, very far from settlements. Best guess, they got hungry. That's usually the main reason why creatures come out of their safe holes. But it's not just that they're rare and deadly. They are rich with resources. Their eyes alone... Actually, no, I'm not going to get into that. You don't need the details. Suffice it to say, this is a potentially lucrative, but also very dangerous quest. My job today is to figure out whom to send on it. No, I definitely can't post it to the board. This one would get so many people interested because of the money, and most of them are not qualified. I'd be sending too many adventurers to their deaths if I let just anyone claim it. So we can't go first come, first serve with this one. I have to make some choices and then offer the job to the people I choose, which brings challenges of its own, because now it becomes personal. It's not just a random job posted for anyone to take. It's me hand-picking a team, and anyone I don't pick could get very salty about it, whether they have the right to or not. Again, surprisingly sensitive, this lot. So, I have it narrowed down to a few, but I need to whittle it down further. Ideally, no more than 6. I don't want to risk too many of our best. I've considered making a second team, like a backup team if something happens to the first, or maybe alternates that can wait in the wings until they get activated, but that's not the same as being on the main team, you know? Sure, take a look. Let me know what you think. Yep, those are my front runners. I'm leaning toward this group here, but these two, I don't know. That's the thing. I don't want to just give the job to the people who are the most likely to whine if they don't get it. That's just rewarding bad behavior. But also, they are good fighters. I do trust them. Yeah? Go ahead then. Share your insights. Of course I'm curious. I want to know your perspective. Interesting. Why do you think that? Oh, I see. You know, I hadn't thought about that. Well, yes, and maybe with a roster system, we can earmark the next quest for them as a reward for their patience. Oh, you mean like assigning points? Right, and good behavior earns more. That's a really interesting idea. That could minimize the whining. It's hard to argue with an objective point system. Then it looks less like favoritism. This would be a fairly major overhaul of the way we do things, though. We'd have to roll it out slowly, in pieces. And I'd want to talk to some of the veterans, see how they feel about it. Oh yeah, a lot to flesh out, but this is an intriguing notion, and I think it might be well received. Did you just come up with this? Well, while we figure that out in the long term, whom would you send on this mission in the short term? Okay, why? That does make sense. I think you might be onto something. You really have had your eyes and ears open this entire time, haven't you? You pay a lot more attention than I realized. I admit, I'm impressed. Like I said, you keep surprising me. Now you're showing an aptitude for strategy. Don't sell yourself short. The fact that you got your team out alive on that less than successful mission was a good indicator that you can at least plan effectively. Even then, you were being strategic, and now, this is a very interesting side of you. No, thank you. I appreciate the help. You've saved me a lot of time and effort today, more than you realize. Sure, of course, you can go ahead, but, hang on, I have an idea. Well, I should ask first, do you enjoy this sort of thing? Planning, strategizing, managing, do you like it? You seem to. You were very animated just now, but do you? Good, that's good, because here's the thing. Each Guildmaster, we have to run things for our guilds, but we also have to be sure to set up a succession for ourselves. If something were to happen to me, I'm supposed to have an apprentice of sorts in place to take over and keep things smooth. The town council has the final say over whom we groom to take over, but we're supposed to at least try to find people. And I think I might have just found you. Well, would you be interested? I know you didn't join the Adventurers Guild to be in management, but honestly, this sort of work is definitely strategic, and you seem to have an aptitude for it. You are a natural at observing and planning. And you know the adventuring side of the work. They always prefer leadership to come from inside the organization. It builds trust and all that. An adventurer is supposed to run the guild. It's me for now, but I think you might be a good choice to succeed me, if you're interested. I can't make any promises. Don't get too excited just yet. I can't promise that you'll be placed as my apprentice. But I would like to put your name forward. And if they accept, you can start helping me more with this sort of thing, while also continuing your training and maybe going on a few more adventures. We want you well-rounded if you're going to be a leader. Sweetness, everyone has strengths. And I think we might have just found yours. So what do you say? Are you willing to give it a try? Perfect. Shake my hand then. I'll send word to the council. I think this will be a very good move indeed, for both of us and for the entire guild. Hey there, don't forget to leave a comment on this audio because I pin my favorite comment in all the newest audios. Also, shout out to Tom New. You're this audio's randomly selected Sweetness patron. Support me on Patreon if you want the chance to be shouted out next. The link is in the description, along with all my other channels and all the ways you can support me. You're the reason I can keep this channel going. So thank you, and thanks for listening.